Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome back to Jack's World of Wildlife's live stream. I have today, once again, my cameraman Gage, Howard. And today we're going to be answering a few more questions, and we're going to be talking about some stuff that we've had happen to us on some of our journeys, because we've had quite a few interesting things happen. Yeah, some interesting instances. So we are going to dive right in. If anybody has any questions, we could start off with a few, and then we'll go into some stories, and then you guys can start like queuing up some questions. But I like to talk for a few minutes just to give people a few minutes to kind of start to tune in. How's everybody's weekend going? Good to hear it. Anybody do anything interesting over the weekend? I haven't done too much. I have just been working on some stuff around the frog room, working on some planning for maybe some videos next year, but nothing too crazy. Did some homework today, but well, cool. We're starting to have a few more people trickle in. Hey, everybody. If you're over on the Instagram, I'm going to shut that down here in about a minute or so. So hop over to the YouTube. More vids of Peanut trying to kill you, pure enjoyment. We can definitely, we can get soon. That. Yes, Peanut, for those who don't know who are watching, is a king cobra, actually owned by Gage, and she is yeah, she's not the sweetest tool in the shed, so she's quite she can be quite a handful for the uninitiated.
Yeah.
Luckily, you know, yeah, we know our way around a king cobra, so she's not too terribly bad. I'm going to pretend about wasps talking. Executioner wasp, I think I shall decapitate this caterpillar, Japanese giant hornet, knock yourself out. Okay. Yes. I feel like that's probably what wasps would say to each other. I am going to decapitate this caterpillar now. And then the Japanese giant hornet's like, all right, good on you. Yeah, go for it. We stand. I don't speak English, I speak French. I don't speak French, I speak English. So go YouTube. I don't know. Go to YouTube. Jack's World of Wildlife. We're gonna do the live over on YouTube. So we're gonna shut Instagram. No. YouTube. Yes. YouTube. Oui.
Now you just sound patronizing.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm not meaning to sound patronizing. Patriotic. Patronizing. Yeah. So we're gonna go over to YouTube. So I'm going to shut down Instagram Live. Goodbye, all, from Instagram Live. And now, delete video, discard. Okay, everybody. Now I have my full attention devoted to you. And we'll just get into some information, because we have quite a few tales to tell. Let's think of a few of our favorites.
Well, you could start off with the mountain lion at Gus Anglin.
Yes. So we were at an unnamed wildlife management area, and we were just, doing some hiking, looking around some trails. We see a trail, and it's gated off. It's not normally gated off. So we're like, what? Like, there was some really cool spots over there that we were wanting to go over and check for maybe some snakes or something cool. So we're just walking along, and Gage is maybe, 10 feet in front of me. We're just walking along, and walking down this trail, and all of a sudden, he kind of like steps on a branch or something, and then we just hear like, how would you describe the sound?
Almost like a kitten. It was obviously a kitten.
Obviously, you have cat descent, a feel-o-form.
Right. I kind of thought maybe, just a house cat or something.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bobcat cub or something.
Yeah, maybe.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. a bobcat or a house cat.
No.
What would our other options be here in the great state of Texas?
Our other option would be a mountain lion
Ah,
in that area. And, a mountain lion by itself is, a rather intimidating animal. But,
of course,
if you leave them alone, they'll generally leave you alone. But what we stumbled upon was kittens,
some baby mountain lions,
some babies,
some cubs,
which is
no good because if anyone knows anything about mother animals, they don't get too excited.
babies make the situation greatly more dangerous.
Yes. So anyway, upon stumbling across some mountain lion cubs, we decide to remove ourselves from the general area, and we were about I don't know, I would say maybe 2 hours. I mean, not 2 hours, 2 miles from the car.
I mean, it was a 30-minute walk at least back to the car.
Yeah,
in
so
the dark.
maybe like
I mean, it was like
4 kilometers.
Yeah.
And so we're just and I would also like to add that this is a completely dark night. Like it was cloudy, like there wasn't any moonlight, any stars, you couldn't see anything. It was just like pitch black. So we just have our flashlights, and 2 with big cats, you can't like run because they're like movement based in their instinctual desire to, pounce, attack, and hunt. So if you start to run, it just kind of triggers the instinct to chase you down and attack you. And so we had to walk slowly, like searching all around with the flashlights, like slowly, for about, that took us like an hour to get back to the car, probably, because we had to walk slowly for 2 miles.
Keep looking behind us, and the mother was following us the entire time.
Had to have been.
You could just hear a little creak here or there,
like just outside of the flashlights,
right?
Like coverage.
It was a pretty narrow trail, and on either side of the trail was, thick brush, because this is a wildlife management area. It's not a national park, for people to wander around. It's a small little game trail, and then all brush.
That was pretty scary. I would say up until we were like hiking around elephant territory, that was probably the scariest. That was the scariest thing that we had done to date.
I mean, what are you going to do against an angry mother mountain lion trying to protect its babies? Nothing.
Submit to the mountain lion.
Nothing.
Yeah, well, there's a lot more that you could do to protect yourself against a mountain lion than an elephant. I think I would rather take an angry mountain lion over an elephant.
I mean, at least you have a chance of.
Like a 120-pound mountain lion. Like I feel like I could probably fight that off a little easier than like a 7-ton
elephant. A little
elephant.
more than 120 pounds.
A little more than 120 pounds. Yeah, so that was no good. I would say probably equally as suspenseful and scary was that other time we were hiking. I don't know if we told this story. The flashlight dying elephant.
Oh my God.
Okay, so
I was so angry. I was like, I'm gonna die here looking for some cave that may or may not exist. For what? Cave racers?
Yeah, just so we're in Thailand, and this is like, I don't know, maybe our first week in country, and so we're with our buddy David from David's Feed, Chris from what's his YouTube, Chris Sweet, Christopher Shannon on Instagram, and Palm, Chris's buddy, one of our good friends. And we're just driving, and they're just telling us all about how they had a friend who's coming over from the States to go looking for snakes with them. And they were just hiking one night, and an elephant came out, grabbed the guy, threw him up against a tree, and immediately killed him. Immediately killed the guy. And we were like,
so why are we going here?
And they're like, yeah, this is where we're going to go. We're going to look for a cave that we may or may not have on Google Maps. And maybe we could find cave racers, which is like, if I had to pick a species of snake, I would be perfectly okay with not finding it'd probably be cave
I
racers.
mean, they're cool, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if we found
I
one,
don't
I'd be
wanna
like,
die.
okay. But like, so basically, we pull up to this like super sketchy like forest, and right when we get there, there's a like bungalow or like a shack that was completely destroyed by an elephant, and all this like
elephant poop.
all this elephant poop everywhere, and we're like, okay. And anyway, so when we're out in the open, they're like, oh, turn off your flashlights, because this we had great visibility with a full moon, and so it was like super bright. And they're like, oh, turn off your flashlights while we go through this giant field. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, because, if there's any elephants, like, we don't want to, like, wake them up or make them mad, so that they kill us. And I was like, okay. And so we get out into this clearing. Well, it's not a field. It's not like a big clearing. It's like short grass, but then there's these huge, like billowy, like massive round, like grass balls that are maybe like, I don't know, 11, 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
The perfect size to hide an elephant. So like you can like barely like see, and like the visibility is like so limited, and we're just like trying to listen to hear if there's any like branches cracking or anything.
Because their feet are so padded.
They're sneaky. They're like ninjas in the forest. You can't hear them coming, especially not on grass or anything. And so we're like, that took like 15 minutes to like slowly walk through that like
felt a lot longer
that like
than 15
open
minutes.
Field. Well, so then we get to the tree line, and this is just like forest. And so we're just kind of like walking along the tree line. We find a game trail, which is just a space like pushed through the underbrush by animals, like water buffalo and stuff. And so buffalo had pushed this little game trail open, and there was like fresh, buffalo poop and just stuff. And it's just like, like we're just in a line, like hunched over, like walking through this little like corridor in just the brush to look for maybe a cave that may or may not exist. Well, so then about halfway through our wonderful excursion, Gage's lovely flashlight starts to cut out and just like stop working.
And the entire time up to that point, I am just horrified. I have swim in, crocodile infested waters in Costa Rica. I have, walked in cages full of, dozens and dozens of king cobras. I own a king cobra. Animals don't bother me. But that was terrifying before my flashlight went out.
I know. And I remember like on the way up there, we were like psyching ourselves out. We were like, oh my gosh, what if an elephant just like came out and just like knocked over the rental car and just like stepped on it? We'd just be dead. We'd just be dead. There's nothing you could do. So he's already like freaking out. And then at this point, I'm just like, I have found peace. I'm like, I don't feel like I'm going to die today.
But if I
do, I'm just, but hey, like if I die by an elephant, like pretty cool, right? And so I'm just like, Gage, I'm sure it's going to be fine. And he's like, we don't even know where this cave is. Like we're going to get stomped on by an elephant. And I'm like, I'm sure it'll be okay. Like they've been, herping for snakes around elephants like their whole lives. Like if an elephant was going to come out and get us, they'd probably hear it at least 10 or so feet away. And then I was like, and honestly, at the end of the day, if an elephant did come out, Gage would be the one to get to get flattened by the elephant.
Push me and run.
I'd just book it through the forest and just shoot off into the thorns and bushes and just run on all fours to escape. So anyway, we were hiking for like, I don't know, 3 hours, 4 hours. No sign of the cave. No sign at all of the cave. Not even a little bit. Not even like an inkling of like, oh, now it's starting to get a little more rocky, or maybe there's going to be a cave up here because it's starting to look a little more mountainous. No. It's just like a gradual incline and just dense jungle loaded with giant mammals that could easily come out at any point
and just kill us all.
So Gage is like still like, we should just go back. We should just go back. Like there's no reason we should be out here. Like I don't even want to find this stuff. And I'm like, Gage,
I hate snakes.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Like don't even sweat it, man. And Chris and David and Palm are like just walking underneath
another day for them.
Regular tie day. And anyway, so yeah, after about 3 hours of hiking, we're just like, well, we can't find the cave. So we just pop a U-turn and walk all the way back down these game trails. We didn't run into any elephants, thankfully, but we were like so scared that whole time. I was like, this is like the scariest thing I've ever done.
Half of the time my flashlight was out. So
yeah,
So
we had to put like Gage in the middle, like he's our little like muskox baby, and we're like pointing out on all ends, like shining our flashlights so he can see. And the whole time he's like, because his flashlight's just going beep, 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 beep. He's like, these are the worst flashlights ever. And I'm like, I have the same brand. I'm like, mine's working. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was.
I don't regret it.
No, it's a good story, but yeah, that's probably one of the more terrifying.
One of the dumbest things I've ever done.
Yeah, that was scary.
Again.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like now we would be like,
yeah,
okay, like I kind of, I would like it was just so brand new. It was just like, oh no, we're hiking, and there could be elephants that not only can come out, but have come out and have killed people.
Just some random guy says Jack is not afraid of death. That's because he's a crazy person.
I mean, death seems like quite the adventure. I'm not going to run into death on purpose, but I mean, if he dies, he dies. Let's see. What am I missing here of the hymenopteran narration? So going to pretend to be wasps talking. Honeybee. There is a Japanese giant hornet coming. Comrades, time to go to the defense. I bet that's exactly what they would say because, sheesh, those giant hornets are going to decapitate them. Japanese giant hornet, I think I'll take some honey, thank you. Bees, where do you think you're going? All right. We have Conrado from Brazil. I would love to go to Brazil. Oh, that'd be amazing. Carpenter Bee. Hey, Executioner Wasp. What are you doing today? Executioner Wasp. I'm going to decapitate this caterpillar. Carpenter Bee. Cool. Hello, Elijah Hunter. Let's see. Thanks. Executioner Wasp. I have decapitated this caterpillar. Time to go home. Carpenter Bee. Bye, Executioner Wasp. Executioner Wasp. Same to you, Carpenter Bee. What did I just join? Your guess is as good as mine. Couldn't have gone in the day. Well, it's pretty hot during the day. And honestly,
I think risking death was better than...
risking death is a little bit better than just sweating.
It's hot outside.
It's hot.
And sticky.
Humid.
As much as I complained throughout that whole terrifying ordeal, I'd rather go out at night than be sticky.
Yeah, well, too, the snake activity is usually better at night, so it's usually just best to go places at night. So a lot of our trips, we just pretty much sleep during the day, and then we're just awake all night.
5, 6 a.m.
Yeah. Ugh.
I mean, how late were we out in Kota Kinabalu? All night.
Late.
Yeah.
I think we slept the least amount though late on our latest trip to Florida because we had to cram so much, and so they were more
dangerous than the elephants.
I know.
I went having myoclonic jerks while driving.
Oh man.
We've been up for 23 hours.
Yeah, 24 hours, and of just jam packed. We had. What did we do? We went shark diving. Then we went hiking to look for red widows for 3 hours in the blazing sun. Then we drove 3 hours up to near Tampa to pick up my buddies to then drive 3 hours to Orlando to go look for panther chameleons, to then look for panther chameleons for 6 hours, to then drive our buddies all the way back. And so I was just because we had to get up at like 5:30 to go to the shark
Because the
dive.
shark diving was at like 7.
Yeah. And so it was
Oh,
just
man.
like, oh, that was rough. I think that latest Florida trip like whipped me harder than
was
anything recently.
The most tired I've
because
ever
like
been.
everything else, like we've just had a little bit more time. Like because
Right.
when we're here in Texas, like the farthest away we have to go is like 8 hours if you want to drive all the way from here to like the Davis Mountain or Brownsville, maybe 9 hours. You know, but it's just like when we drove all the way to Florida, that was like 21 hours to get to Homestead to hang out with Chandler. And so it was just like took 2 days. Okay, let's see here. Any plans on coming up to the Northeast anytime in the future? You guys would love the flora and fauna down east, black bears, moose, fisher cats. Oh man, I'd love to see some fisher cats and stuff.
That'd be cool.
Oh yeah, I'd love to do a lot more just North America stuff because we just haven't really done a ton of North American stuff, especially with like traveling being weird right now. I'd like to do more North America things.
Yeah.
Fisher cats are amazing. I love mustelids.
Yeah.
Mustelids are just freaking dope. Dope. I want to get in and film with some Wolverines either this year or next year. I have the in, but I don't have the money right now.
So give us all of your money, please.
Okay. General Tech says, I have no idea what I'm watching. This is just a live. I come on like once or twice a week and we just like talk, we answer questions. Just impressed by that Black Widow video. Thank you. It took a lot of work. How was the Black Widow hangover, by the way? Horrible. Horrible. I was just recounting because so the effects lasted for maybe, I don't know, 10 days, let's say.
Jeez.
And so it was just horrible pain for like that first 11 hours. Like I couldn't lay down, I couldn't sit, I couldn't do anything. Most of that's in that extended cut video where I talk about that. But then after that, my arm was just so achy and my back was hurt. And I felt like I just had a headache and kind of like feverish, was kind of feeling like just sick. And so maybe like a few days after that initial, the Black Widow bite, me and my now wife were driving down to Glen Rose, which is about, I don't know, 2.5 hours away. And we hit like somebody's, like some trash came off somebody's car and it popped my tire. And it was like 90 degrees, 95 maybe. And I could not change the tire. I was like too weak. And luckily there was like a lawn care like company at like the parking lot that I had to park in. And this guy came over and helped me change the tire, but like it was just like I was like just wilting in the sun because that Black Widow hangover was just terrible. And I will say too, it was probably a dramatic envenomation. Probably more venom was injected into me than what you would get in a normal defensive bite. But yeah, I don't recommend getting bitten by a Black Widow. It's survivable, absolutely, but
you were
not fun.
Really bad.
Yeah.
My symptoms never lasted more than a couple of days. When the initial bite was like 8 hours, and a bad bite 12 hours. But 10 days. Yeah, I mean, even my biggest Mactins or Hesperus bites never got that bad. I guess I probably should have told you to let up on it, but I didn't.
No, thankfully, Gage has brought more entertainment to the viewers by prolonging the effects of my bite. Yes, so it's pretty bad. You should have more subs by now. You are so much better than Coyote Peterson, and yet so unheard of. Preach into the choir. Yeah, I'm hoping with all the uploads that we're hoping to get done this year, I can maybe bump those subs up. We're almost to 10,000, so that'll be pretty good. 10,000, that's nothing to bat an eye at. Having only really been on YouTube since the beginning of 2018, so near in 3 years. So we're doing pretty good in terms of just growth and whatnot. Go to Yuma, nice specs there. Okay, let's do it. Let's see. What else? You guys have any other questions? Or you guys want to hear another story? We've got time. We've got some more time about if you guys have any questions about some of the bite videos or the sting videos. I would say some of the worst bites and stings I've had ended up going on the channel.
Yeah.
I used to do this type of stuff just for fun and just to see, what stuff felt like. I've been stung by a bunch of, different trap jaw ants and pachycondyla and neoponera and stuff like that from Costa Rica. And I never filmed that. That was back in 2017. I was just like, oh, it might be interesting to see how that feels. So this is before all the sting videos were super popular. And but I would say probably my most severe stuff has been documented on YouTube. I would say my most painful sting was Vespa tropica for sure, the giant, the Thai banded hornet, greater banded hornet, and then the worst bite, yeah, definitely black widow.
Your Asian forest scorpion sting was bad too.
I think that
really
one just got
weird.
kind of like inflamed and infected or something.
Yeah.
Because my arm was like freaking like a pillow. Like it was just so swollen and like tight.
Well, that
and
was
red.
just as bad as the tropica, the Vespa tropica.
The swelling, yeah.
swelling
the pain,
was.
not so much. But yeah, I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was just like a certain like chemical composition of that locality,
That could
because
be.
Thailand doesn't really export a lot of wildlife. So all of the Asian forest scorpions that like we have in the States that
from,
people
like,
have been
Indonesia,
getting stung
Malaysia.
by, yeah, they're from a different country. So
And hey, I mean, look at like a lot of the centipedes.
Mhm.
Like polymorpha,
Mhm.
locales can be
Yeah.
vastly more.
Oh yeah,
Toxic.
absolutely. Like you could have, one, same species, but one centipede from one mountain range, bite you and nothing happens, and another one, sends you to the hospital. So sometimes venom is super variable, and it's just kind of understudied. So maybe it was more dangerous for me to get stung by Asian forest scorpion
You should do it
in
again.
Thailand. I don't know. It wasn't too bad. It just like tore a huge freaking hole. Like you can see it
Yeah.
in that sting video. Like the stinger like slips under my skin and then
And
like
just
it
wiggling
pulls
around.
up my skin like that, and it's just like, and I was just like, ouch, ouch, that hurts. You should go to California. There's some big camel spiders there. I'd like to go to California. I really want to go to Monterey Bay. I want to go whale watching. I want
That
to
would be
see
cool.
like some orcas and blue whales and fin whales and stuff. I'd also really love to do some more marine episodes. There's a lot of good like tidal pools. We could film with some sea lions, all sorts of stuff. I'd love to get out to California.
Entering the bite zone.
Entering
with a
the
sea lion.
bite zone
With
with
an
a
adult sea lion.
1,400-pound sea lion. Yeah,
I think your viewers would like it.
I think they would like it. I think I would probably be immediately arrested and euthanized
Especially
for
considering
harassing
Your viewers want you
protected
to
wildlife.
get stung by irukandjis and bit by Sydney funnel webs.
Oh, they're so
You
sweet.
got some sadists.
They're like get stung by a box jellyfish, jump off a cliff onto an adult moose, and I'm like, I don't. Go try and fight a grizzly bear. Run through the North Pole with stakes taped to you and see how many wolverines and polar bears you can attract. And I'm like,
Well, hey, at least they're creative.
they are creative.
They are creative.
They are very creative. Now, we might have some interesting stuff because this year we might have some new ideas for certain things that you guys might be excited to see. I'm not going to tell you guys quite yet, but I might start hinting at things that we might do. I know we're going to have some more sting and bite videos this year, but we might have some other interesting things as well. Would you let the giant centipede chomp on you, Jack? I feel like I've answered this question every live. I don't know. I'm probably not going to go out of my way to get bitten by the giant centipede, mostly because their venom is just super understudied, and I have never been bitten by centipedes, so I don't know if I would be sensitive to the venom or if it could cause, some serious issues. There's a high concentration of cardiotoxins in centipede venom, which can affect your heart even permanently. And so I'm just going to probably play it safe. If I end up getting bitten by a centipede just by happenstance, I'll document it, but I'm probably not going to specifically go after and let a giant centipede bite me. For that reason, just to be safe. Like, I don't want to really like truly endanger myself. Like, the only times I've actually been bitten by things is when I know that I'm not really going to be in any actual harm. But that's a good question. I'm interested in doing more wasps and ants and things. I have no issue doing that. Has any insect bite left you nervous of the insect afterwards? I don't think so. I would say, if anything, I'm a little more wary of handling black widows now.
I was for my first 2 bites.
I'm like, I feel like because they can just a little pinch, and then like even if it was a half as bad as what I experienced, that was just so horrible.
A true defensive bite, just a little nip. I've been nipped by maybe a dozen black widows before, and it leaves your finger kind of throbbing, kind of sore, but you don't get the systemic effects like a full envenomation. And all of my full envenomations. See, I've been bit by Mactins, Hesperus, Menavodi, probably something else. I don't know. I've been stung by a lot. I have been bit by Variolus. And most of the full envenomations were bad, but after 24 hours, it all went away.
Yeah.
And then I've just been nibbled on, and it's not too bad.
Okay.
So I feel like
wouldn't be quite as horrible.
Particularly nervous handling black widows, because as long as you don't let them bite you for 15 seconds, it's not too bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I handled that other like we caught that other one, and I'm like, but I mean, like that's the one where I'm like, oh yeah,
this hurts.
That hurt more than anything else I've ever been hurt by. So maybe I should be a little more careful. And then I'm like, it's probably not gonna bite me.
Well, look on the bright side. I had a great day when you got bit.
Yes, Gage was quite entertained by the amount of pain. Have you considered making something similar to a Schmidt's pain index? Yeah, maybe. I'm thinking about, we'll see with this next kind of segment. I was thinking about putting together some like graphics, like so that every time I get stung by something, we kind of like add it in the lineup. And so then I would kind of like go through and have, let's say, stuff like brown recluse is all the way at the end because it didn't really hurt. And then something like Black Widow is all the way, at the max level because it hurt a lot. And then you'd have, Vespa Tropica and, Bullet Ant and Myrmecia and, so on and so forth. So I was thinking about kind of putting together like a graphic that I can just inlay in all my videos. We're still a bit of ways from that. But I might produce something. I could just produce a video talking about like coining the Jack, Sting, and Bite pain index, because I have been actually bitten by species that nobody else has really fully documented, like brown recluse and Black Widow. So it would be at least somewhat interesting and usable to science to have that information viable. So yeah, I might do that. Yeah. Jack, big fan, appreciate it. Did you go to school for biology or zoology, and are you from Texas? I'm from Texas, born and raised. I was born in Plano. My family lived in Louisville for a few years, and now we live like in the North DFW area. And I actually am at school right now. So I took a big break from school to really seed a lot of my time, energy, and money into this whole Jack's World Wildlife enterprise. So currently, I'm not in any specific classes for biology or zoology. I'm taking a biology class just for fun this semester. But I do tutor for biology for high school students. Other than that, everything is really kind of self-guided study and research. So I do think in the future, I would like to get my PhD in biology so that I can teach on a collegiate level. But as of right now, I can't really justify spending, 6, 7, 8 years of my prime youth time at school to get a degree in something that, I'm already really well versed in and can converse on, a collegiate level with anybody. I could be talking to a professor or a student, or it doesn't really matter. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I'd like to go back just to get the paper that allows me to teach. But as of right now, I think it's really important for me to try and be smart about how I'm using my time and as a resource, and trying to fight for wildlife and for conservation as much as I can now. And then, later down the road, when I'm not able to travel as much and I've got more responsibilities, more things to do here, then I can go back to school and get that degree. So currently right now I'm just working on an associate's just in business. I run my own business, so I'm just gonna get that piece of paper so that I can kind of just jump off of that, down the line when I go back to school. But it's a great question. A lot of people think I have some level of formal education or training, but it's just because I just eat, sleep, and breathe all this stuff, as with Gage as well. So it's pretty funny. We're pretty much walking encyclopedias, which is really nice. Yeah. Because when we're like out looking for stuff to film, almost like I would say 98% of my content is just like right when we find it, right in the moment. Let's go. Let's start a video.
Every once in a while, it doesn't matter what we find. We know everything we need to know about it.
I put together a video. It's like, oh, I didn't know what I was going to find today. Oh, I can tell you exactly what that is. I'm not going to walk around and be like, oh, what is that? Oh, is that a Sicilian? Is that a Sicilian? And not know, what something is going to be. Is the funnel web as dangerous as the rumors make out? How about you? Would you like to answer that question?
So the Sydney funnel web spiders, Atrax robustus, have a particularly potent venom. I mean, one of the most dangerous invertebrates out there. With a bite, you could be looking at death within 10 minutes. Now, usually their bites aren't as bad. You're regularly defensive, but an untreated Sydney funnel web spider bite could result in death, in 10 minutes to a couple of hours if not treated. Luckily, Australia is
very crap together.
Yeah, they have it together. So healthcare in Australia is very accessible, and they're very good at it. Mm-hmm. They have very, very, very few deaths from venomous snake envenomations, jellyfish, Sydney funnel webs, even though they have the most dangerous animals there. Mm-hmm. The reason Atrax are so toxic to people is they're one of the main components in their venom, robust toxin. Mm. It's very similar to Calliophas bivirgatus toxin. It's a voltage gate sodium channel modulator. Basically, it turns on all of your sodium channels all at once, and then inhibits or delays their ability to turn back off. So it can result in very quick, kind of rigid paralysis.
Yeah, essentially
really bad.
Open up all your sodium channels and paralyze you on essentially a cellular level,
right?
Like pretty quickly.
Right. It's bad. Yeah. Of course, it depends on who you ask. Some people say, oh yeah, they'll drop you in a minute. Mm-hmm. Not likely. Yeah, not likely. It's not, like Calliophas bivirgatus. Mm-hmm. It's not something instant, but it is
definitely serious.
Definitely an entirely different playing field than black widows or even Brazilian wandering spiders. Mm-hmm. They're the most dangerous invertebrate out there, I think, to work with.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, good answer. Have I ever stonked with a cronk lonk?
Yes. Maybe.
Possibly. I see a lot of you guys commenting, give me the Zuck. If some of you could just follow up and tell me what that means, I'll be sure to try and get it for you. That's what I feel like when Mark Zuckerberg's on like Facebook Live and he has no idea what people are saying and he's like, oh, I don't know what you guys are saying. All right, let's see. I love your channel. I'm sorry if you've been asked this before, but do you have your own personal favorite top 5 list from all your sting videos? Oh, maybe that you enjoyed making the most. Oh, that's a good question. Nobody's actually asked me that before. Which are my favorites? Like, not necessarily how well they did, but which are my favorite sting or bite videos? I would say I would say some of my favorites. I'm not going to necessarily put them in order, but my top 5 favorites. I really enjoyed filming the Myrmecia sting. I had a lot of fun doing that. I was like my first video in Australia. I was having so much fun. I got to finally see these ants like alive in the wild. One of my favorite genera of ants. So I was like, this is awesome. So I was just like, woohoo, yeah, I'm stinging myself with all these cool ants. So I'd say Myrmecia, bullet ant. I loved finding bullet ants in the wild. So that was another one of my absolute favorite videos. I would say of my 2 bullet ant videos, I like the extended cut a little bit better because I kind of went back and put it back together how I kind of like it to look. Tarantula hawk wasp sting gone right, I think was also really good. And that was really fun to film because we caught that massive one. And that was really cool. Vespa Tropica, because that was super laid back, but also just like such a lucky like video, because I was just walking around by myself. I luckily had a container in my pocket, and I see this massive Vespa Tropica just land at the little side of this creek and start drinking water. And I'm like, I don't have a net. I don't have anything. I have to catch this wasp. I have to catch this hornet. So I go over. It's literally like a pill bottle sized. And I go and I just boom, I set it over the hornet, and I just stick the lid on and I screw it on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I freaking caught it. So I say Vespa Tropica. And then my final favorite sting video, I liked Texas bullet ant, Neoponera villosa, because that's actually the first species that I've stung myself with. Oh yeah, Gage has a picture of the pill bottle.
Just, I mean, how impressive is that?
That's the wasp.
He caught the wasp in a toothpick jar.
Yeah, it's a little toothpick jar. Like, that's Gage's hand, so that's even smaller than mine. And that's the giant wasp. I caught it in that container. Yeah, I really like I was saying, the Neoponera villosa is actually the first sting I ever gave myself, and the first sting video we ever made. That was in 2017.
Trip too.
Yeah, that was on Gage and my first trip together down to South Texas to meet up with some friends. And we filmed myself taking a sting from Neoponera villosa. So that species is like really kind of sentimental to me. So I would say, yeah, those top 5: Myrmecia, bullet ant, the tarantula hawk gone right, Vespa Tropica, and Neoponera villosa. That's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that before. So very creative. Is there any stinging insect that scares you that you would not be willing to let sting you? No stinging insect that scares me that I would not be willing to let it sting me. Nothing. You could, executioner wasp? I bet it's not that bad. Asian giant hornet? I bet it's really gonna suck, but I can do it. Warrior wasp? Megalara garuda? Anything. I'm like, it's an insect. If it's an ant, bee, or a wasp, no sweat. No sweat. I only get worried about things that I'm not sure what's in their venom, because Hymenopteran venom is all pretty similar, just comes in different quantities. All the Vespa gonna have pretty similar venom. All the Polistes, pretty similar venom. So I've been stung by one, you've been stung by all of them, right? Versus centipedes, super variable venom composition. Some people react super, violently to it. Some people not so much, right? So, but the actual insect stings, ants, bees, and wasps, I have no problem with getting stung by any of those. Hello, let's hear about some animals. Say something about some animals.
I really like animals.
I really like animals.
They're neat.
What's your favorite animal?
Blue coral snake.
A blue coral snake. Calliopsis brevigatus. I don't know what my favorite animal is.
Well,
I really love orangutans, and I love orca whales.
I might rank pangolin above brevigatus.
I love pangolins.
Pangolins, they're the most pure organism on the planet.
Just love pangolins.
Just delightful.
Love them.
Delightful.
Love them.
Except for their ooze.
Yes, they're a little greasy around the cloaca, but we still love them anyway.
They're probably the ones that brought COVID.
Jack, have you been to the Amazon yet? Not quite yet. I'd love to go. It's pretty dangerous right now, from what I understand.
It depends on what.
So you need like a guide for a lot of it, but I'd love to get down to the Amazon. Oh, it'd be so amazing. Go hang out with some river dolphins, giant river
That would be
otters, green
incredible.
anacondas, electric eels, giant catfish. The list goes on.
Which part of the Amazon would you like to go to? Which countries Amazon?
Brazil for sure.
Yeah, a little dangerous.
Yeah, Brazil is just very dangerous. Very dangerous. I'd love to go to Ecuador, Peru.
Yeah, Peruvian Amazon.
I'd like to get up, over, to, French Guyana, Suriname. I feel like all those places.
So all of it.
Yeah, every single country in South America. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to get down to the Amazon. I have not actually made it to South America yet. The farthest I've gone is Costa Rica. Yeah.
Oh.
So we're slacking.
We need to
get to like Ecuador stat. Let's see. Jack, caught this live stream. What do you do for work? Well, like I said, I own my own business. So currently what I do right now is I breed and distribute fruit flies as feeder insects for some of the local like aquariums and zoos and pet stores of the area. So that I make a good amount of money doing that. And then I also do custom enclosures for typically dart frogs. So I breed poison dart frogs, I sell those. And then I also build custom vivariums, which are like these really intricate live planted display tanks that have a wide variety of animal and plant life inside of them. And so I actually will install those at like businesses and like doctor's offices and things. And then I go once a week and take care of them. So that's what I'm doing right now as a job. And I actually make a good amount of money doing that. I'm only really working a few days a week, running maintenance and doing all that stuff. And I'm making more than what I made working full time at the reptile stores that we used to work at. So I can't complain. It's working pretty well. I know it's kind of a, there's a lot of extra steps you have to go through owning your own business, submitting sales tax and all that other stuff, self-employment. But yeah, I have a LLC in Texas, Jacksonville Wildlife LLC. So I run my own business and I've been enjoying that. But I would really like for YouTube to kind of take over more financial responsibility and just be able to feed a little bit more into this mission and the travel and that type of stuff. What is your opinion of Coyote Peterson? He seems very fake on his reaction videos. It's brought him great success. I'm not a fan of Coyote Peterson. I would go as far to say that I actively dislike a lot of what Coyote Peterson is and symbolizes. People get really upset because they feel really connected to him because he kind of, jump started a lot of this YouTube animal stuff for some reason, just lying about how bad stuff hurts. But for me personally, I just consider him to be an entertainer. I don't find really hardly any educational content in the vast majority of his videos. And two, there's nothing really inherently wrong with that. I just have like an ethical dilemma where I'm not really a huge fan of just taking animals as like content and then using them just to build your own brand. Like I want people to be enjoying and learning about animals, and that's why they come to me. And I'm glad that I'm entertaining and that I can capture an audience and that I'm somewhat good at explaining things, but I'm not really interested in just using animals just to make myself popular or famous or make me money. I want to bring as many people as I can to the front lines of conservation and animal education. So we kind of are just differing on those two stances. And I feel like a lot of what he's done is just make certain animals out to be super scary or
yourself.
Yeah, fear. Yeah, exactly. And I think that there's sometimes there's a place for that, but I'm like, I don't think you should be doing that type of stuff. Like we need insects now more than ever.
Especially not with animals and groups of animals that are already villainized.
Yeah. Snakes. Oh, snake bit me.
And so he takes advantage of that to make himself money.
Yeah. And so I'm not a fan of that. So I mean, I'm not going to just, spend forever talking about him because I made a lot of my content just to like challenge and disprove a lot of what he's put out there, and so I really don't like to give him any more like airtime. I'm just like, you guys can compare our Sting videos. I'm just gonna react normally. Like if it's not gonna make me roll around and scream and cry, I'm not going to. Like that's the whole thing. You're saying, oh, when you get stung by a tarantula hawk, like you have to roll around and scream and cry because that's how painful it is. And I'm like, I don't think so. So let's see. And I'm like, no, I didn't have to roll around and scream and cry. I was able to, endure it. And so I'm going to show you guys it's not that bad. And then I'm also going to teach you, oh, why do we even have these animals? Why, they're not just scary. They're not scary in general. They're just organisms that go about their lives. They have certain adaptations to defend themselves, to defend their nests, to defend their offspring, and they'll use those if they feel threatened. But if they don't feel threatened, they're not aggressive animals. They're not scary animals, and they deserve respect, and they have a place in the ecosystem. And so that's what bothers me. Also, I don't know why they have decided to capitalize on the whole insect and sting stuff. They have no idea what they're talking about with insects. They've misidentified. If you go on his Instagram and you scroll back, almost every single species of insect is misidentified. He's like, oh, a stag beetle bit me. It's a cerambycid, a longhorn beetle, completely different family of beetles. It doesn't even take an entomologist to know that. He said, oh, I caught a bullet ant. Should I proceed with the challenge on his Instagram? And it's Neoponera villosa, completely different, subfamily of ant. He posted an elephant beetle and said Hercules beetle. There are only 2 large species of beetles in Costa Rica. Only 2, and they don't look anything alike. And he posted the wrong name for one of them. So it's just like, that's the problem with YouTube, is like there's no like governing body or force to force people or to hold people to a standard, so that they can't just put whatever they want. Because he could just say, oh, this is a demon ant, and it's a new species of ant, and it has the worst sting in the whole world, and I'm going to roll around and flop and foam at the mouth, and that's what it is, and 2 million people are going to be like, wow, I've never heard of the demon ant before. Cool, thanks for teaching me, Coyote. And it's all just stuff he just made up. So I'm not a huge fan of him. Like I said, I consider him to be an entertainer for younger children. I don't find anything he does to be very educational or beneficial towards animal education and conservation. Like just making stuff seem scary. Like he was with Chris Gillette and they were filming an alligator and Chris is just holding it. He's like, would this thing like snap at my camera? Would it try to bite the camera? And I'm like, it's not gonna try and bite the camera. He's just trying to make stuff seem scary and hype stuff up. And I think that's just, we already have so much negative representation of these animals, snakes, sharks, insects, spiders, all this stuff in media already, that we don't need somebody else teaching an entire generation of kids to hate the very organisms that our survival depends on. We need spiders, we need insects, we need sharks, we need all this stuff. And when you just make it seem scary just to make a quick buck, that can be detrimental to just public opinion. Like the movie Jaws has caused so much just apathy towards sharks. And now that they're suffering, many species of sharks are endangered because of overfishing and shark fin soup and poaching. And it's hard to get the public reunited and to come up behind and protect sharks as a very valuable part of our ocean ecosystems because of how the media has portrayed them. People are like, oh, I'm afraid of sharks. They might never have ever even had contact with a shark. They might go to the beach once or twice a year. And they're going to say, oh, I have an irrational fear of sharks. Because of that type of stuff. We don't realize it, but as a society, when we feed this fear monster, our kids, our grandkids, our great grandkids could grow up in a society where, oh, that's scary, icky, gross animals, and these are cute, fluffy, good animals, and we only care about these, and we don't care about those, and then that can cause systemic ecological collapse. So I think it's detrimental to be irresponsible with teaching a generation of people. Now that being said, I don't think he's an educator. I just call him an entertainer. That's all he's really doing. Yeah, at best. I mean, I find his videos to be super cringy. I don't actually watch any of his stuff. I've seen clips here and there. I don't watch his stuff because I don't want to imitate any more than what I'm doing with just kind of copying the same type of not copying per se, but doing the same type of videos so that I can showcase just how important these animals are and that they're not monsters. But that's a great question. Hey, Jack, do you want more narrations? Sure, you can throw them up there if you want. Have I ever been to the River Run in West Sussex, Southern England? If you haven't, don't bother. I have not.
Thanks for the heads up.
Thanks for the heads up. Where would you put velvet ants in your scale? Curious because I see them all the time, and I think they are really beautiful. Fun fact, I've never been stung by a velvet ant. We're hoping to get that done this year, so I'd be happy to tell you after that point. You are so gentle with the insects. Are you vegetarian? Is it hard being so gentle when the insects or animals can be aggressive? I'm not vegetarian, but I try and be gentle with animals and showcase animals in a positive way. It can be difficult being gentle with insects, but a lot of people don't realize insects are pretty tough. A lot of the ants and beetles and wasps and stuff I have on the channel, I don't want to damage them, but it's a hard time to try and injure an insect. They don't really have a complex nervous system. So as long as I'm just being kind of dainty with them and taking care of them and not really, jerking them around or ripping them off of me or, crumpling up their wings or anything like that, they're usually okay. But yeah, I like to be gentle with the animals because I don't want to hurt the animals just to get a video. Again, that ties back to I don't just want to be using the organisms just to further my brand or whatever you want to call it. I want to be showcasing just how cool and important and interesting these animals are. And so I want to do that in a way that, the animal itself is not going to be just like killed in doing, which is another thing that I have a problem with Coyote Peterson. He manhandles a lot of stuff. It's mostly to make him look cool and capable. And so I've seen him,
pour isopropyl alcohol down a turtle's throat.
I don't know if that is true or not, but
it was on the video.
He said it?
He poured it down the turtle's throat on video.
He said it was isopropyl alcohol?
Yes. Which is metabolized into acetone.
So which is
paint thinner.
Poison for any sort of organism. Ooh. But yeah, I just really want to showcase a positive interaction with a lot of these animals. It really frustrates me when, people who have been put in on this sort of pedestal of animal education and really being influential in teaching, just kind of drop the ball and are like, well, I'm just gonna, I can do whatever I want because I'm popular and I'm famous and da 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 da. So that just bothers me. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. He's really made himself into kind of a joke. Isn't it almost toad season in the South? Could you make a good night video watching them emerge? We have great basin spadefoots here in East Washington State.
Maybe another month or so.
Maybe another month, and then the rains will start coming. Yeah. We're still in January. It's probably going to be really cold through February, but around March, we typically aren't going to be dipping below freezing anymore. And so, yeah, we'll probably be able to pick up on some more amphibians and
some salamanders.
Yeah, salamanders too, maybe. We've got a few Texas species of salamanders. I don't know. Have we? Yeah, I've had Plethodon albagula on the channel with Dan, our collaboration looking for salamanders around Austin. But I don't know if we've had any other salamanders on the channel. I don't think we have.
Might have to go to some of the eastern states.
Yeah, tiger salamanders. We've got smallmouth. We've got marbled, spotted. We've got most of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe an hour or two away from here. We could probably find them now.
I'm down.
Hey, maybe we'll go get you guys some salamander videos. I just saw this again. Thank you, Wishbone Jones. Once again, you are my sole supporter for this live. But we are just about out of time. We're coming up on an hour, so we'll probably start winding it down. If there's any last questions, comment them quick. and I'll answer them, but then I think we'll sign off. I'm going to try and get you guys a video uploaded next Saturday. I have one last question. I'm scared of wasps as I was stung as a child. Do you have any tips to conquer phobias? What is freaky is that British wasps are terrifying, but tarantula hawks seem okay. What's difficult with wasps that I would encourage you to start taking care of the wasps in your area. And what I mean by that is I would put out like a shallow, like clay, like pot tray, like what you put like plants in to like hold water at the bottom, like a clay tray. Fill it with gravel and just keep it topped off with water. And you'll start to see bees and wasps coming and drinking. And you can just kind of sit and watch them, because the problem with wasps, not really the problem, but they're defensive of their nests. And a lot of times when we see them, they're on those nests. And if it's a nice warm day, you know, they're going to fly out and they might defend their nests if they feel threatened. And so I encourage you to interact with wasps in a more neutral setting. If you're just watching them, you know, buzz around and feed on flower nectar, they're not going to be aggressive in that setting. If you're agitating them, they'll fly away, right? They don't have something to protect there. And so then you can start to see that different side of these wasps doing important things like pollinating and bringing food back to their nest. And then you can really start to appreciate the animals just as they are, instead of, you know, oh, I was stung by them and that's negative, and, you know, I can't really get close to a nest because, you know, they might think I'm trying to attack it. I would encourage just trying to approach it in more of a neutral way. Like you could put out some old fruit. Butterflies, bees, wasps, they'll all feed on, you know, slices of apples, jelly, honey, a little water tray. You could plant some little flowering plants in a front garden or a planter, and they'll feed on those too. But that is the first step I would do in trying to overcome a fear of wasps, is just really kind of learning that other side of them, that they're not really aggressive and they're not out to sting you. They're just trying to survive and protect their offspring, and that is admirable because that's what we're all trying to do, right? Can't wait for another light trap video. Yeah, once it warms up, we will get more of those set up. Appreciate the educational aspect to the show. Unfortunately, the average person's attention span is lower than that of a goldfish, so you might lose a lot of viewers because of that. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a longer process to get from where we are to where we'd like to be, just because we're holding ourselves to a higher standard. We're not just kind of selling out and trying to capitalize on just fear mongering and ridiculous stuff. Thank you, Stephanie. We're not just trying to just make junk up and profit off of that, because I want to teach you guys. The whole point is to connect the populace with conservation, with the natural world, every aspect, not just the cute, you know, baby bears and you know, cute whales and dolphins, but insects and spiders and snakes and reptiles, because everything is part of this collection of biomes on this planet, and we need it all. It all serves a purpose, and it doesn't have to be liked, but it needs to be respected. But I think that's all we have time for today. There's some great questions. Thank you, Gage, once again for sitting around. Nobody really had any Gage specific questions this time, so Gage was probably bored.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time, if I allow him back, we'll see.
You will.
But thank you all for tuning in. Like I said, I'm going to try and get a video out for you guys next week. I know it's been a long time. Please be patient with me. I just started back up school. Like I said, I run my own business, so there's a lot that comes with trying to set all this stuff up. A bunch of ways you can support me is you can buy our shirts. They have these nice logos in the front. We also have hoodies. The link is in the description. You can buy them off of Amazon. And then we also have a Patreon page, which is like a pay-in subscription. So you can like set up to donate, you know, $5, $10, $15 a month. And if enough of you guys do that, that really helps me out. And then we're able to pay for a lot more trips, a lot more frequently, and we can get a lot more videos for you guys. So something as simple as, $20 here, $30 there. I mean, $5 a month even. That's like, I don't know, $1.25 a week. And if 30 people did that, we'd be looking better than we're looking now. So any sort of support that you guys give me, even if it's just liking, commenting, and sharing the videos, is perfect. So if you guys want to come off of the live and then turn back around and comment on the actual video, that also helps my algorithms as well. But I really appreciate you guys' support. I hope that we can get some more videos for you guys this year, and I will see you next Sunday on the live. So once again, thanks you for tuning in, and hopefully we'll have a video out Saturday. We shall see. All right, bye. See.